For the first time in over a decade, Xi Jinping is skipping a BRICS summit in Brazil, not because of illness, not because of a scheduling conflict, but because of strategy. Since 2013, China's president has never missed a single BRICS gathering. So when Beijing suddenly announced that Premier Li Qiang would be attending instead, global analysts took notice. This wasn't routine, it was a message. But what could have triggered such a dramatic no-show? Why would the most powerful man in the bloc walk away from the table? The answer, as we'll uncover, lies in a quiet diplomatic snub and a growing rivalry that's pulling BRICS apart from the inside. Just recently, India dealt a major blow to the BRICS agenda by refusing to support the plan for de-dollarization, insisting it would continue using the US dollar for international trade. That move stunned China and Russia, who have been pushing hard for BRICS to challenge the dollar's dominance. From border clashes to foreign policy disagreements, India and China are now pulling BRICS in two completely different directions. And now, with Xi Jinping walking away from the table and Putin missing from the next summit, is this the beginning of the end for BRICS? While BRICS have their issues, it is very important to note that this is not the end to the opposition to the United States powers, because China and other global South nations are already forging new paths to challenge US power, without the weight of BRICS holding them back. Let's break down what's really going on, and why this summit might mark a turning point. Before we dive into the full analysis, make sure you're subscribed. And now, let's get into it. Xi Jinping has been present at every single BRICS summit for over a decade. His sudden decision to skip the upcoming meeting in Brazil, scheduled for July 6th to 7th, is a clear sign that something is breaking down inside BRICS. Why does this matter? Because China is the backbone of BRICS. Out of all the BRICS countries, China is the largest economy by far. As of 2024, the combined GDP of BRICS makes up about 40% of the global economy, and China alone contributes nearly 20% of that. On paper, its nominal GDP stands at $18.8 trillion, second only to the United States. India comes next in BRICS, but its economy is much smaller, with a nominal GDP of just $3.88 trillion. But when measured by purchasing power parity, China's GDP is estimated at $41 trillion, making it the largest economy in the world by real output. This highlights just how far ahead China stands, even among its closest peers in the bloc. That sheer economic weight gives China unmatched influence within BRICS. So when Xi Jinping pulls back, it's not just symbolic, it shakes the very foundation of the entire group. And the timing of Xi's decision wasn't random. According to diplomatic insiders, the tipping point came when Brazilian President Lula invited India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to a high-profile state dinner during the summit. In international diplomacy, that's more than a meal. It's a political endorsement. And for Xi Jinping, it was unacceptable. To understand why, look at the broader context. India recently dealt a major blow to the BRICS agenda by refusing to support de-dollarization, insisting it would continue using the US dollar for international trade. That stunned both China and Russia, who are eager to break free from Western financial dominance. So when Lula gave Modi the red carpet treatment, it sent a strong signal. India's influence is growing, and China is no longer the unchallenged leader in the room. For Xi, the optics of appearing as a supporting actor to Modi, especially in a BRICS summit hosted by Brazil, was too much. This kind of diplomatic symbolism is crucial in Chinese politics. Beijing watches these moves closely, and Xi clearly sees India tightening ties with Brazil and other global South countries. It's a shift China is deeply uncomfortable with. In fact, this isn't the first time Xi has backed away from a summit where India took center stage. Last year, when India hosted the G20 summit, Xi skipped it entirely, sending Premier Li Qiang in his place. That decision raised eyebrows then. Now, it looks like a deliberate pattern. And Xi isn't the only one bowing out. Vladimir Putin, facing an international arrest warrant, is also skipping the summit. His absence, like Xi's, is not just logistical, it's political. Together, their no-shows signal something deeper. The momentum behind BRICS is faltering. Some would say it's collapsing. China, meanwhile, is increasingly focusing on bilateral deals, Belt and Road diplomacy, and direct de-dollarization, strategies that allow it to move faster without the bureaucratic drag of BRICS consensus. Putin's absence, driven by his geopolitical isolation, only adds to the sense that the bloc is becoming fragmented and awkward. But let's be clear, this doesn't mean the resistance to US dominance is over. Far from it. What we're witnessing may not be the collapse of anti-Western cooperation, but the restructuring of it. And what comes next could be even more powerful. Still, without Xi or Putin at the table, BRICS looks leaderless. The bloc was built on the idea of a united global South front. But when its most powerful members stop showing up, what's left? Sending Premier Li instead lowers the importance of the meeting for China. Yes, Premier Li can still represent China, but leaders make the real decisions, especially at big summits like this. What is China saying officially? Not much. Chinese state media mentioned that Xi had already met President Lula twice this year, once in May in Beijing and once in November at the G20 in South America. They suggest that because of those earlier meetings, this summit is less urgent. But that's just a polite way to avoid the real issue. The close relations of China and Brazil is what makes it even more disturbing that President Xi will not be attending a summit hosted by President Lula. This is coming at a time when both nations are getting into stronger partnerships. China is not happy with how India is interfering with some of BRICS' objectives. China may be shifting its focus to other global groups where it has more control, like the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO, or the China CELAC Forum. These are platforms where China doesn't have to disagree with India. One of the main reasons behind the tension is the long and bitter border conflict between India and China. The two countries fought a war in 1962, and things have never really been peaceful since. In recent years, there have even been deadly clashes between their soldiers in the Himalayas. During the last BRICS summit, Russian President Vladimir Putin tried to calm things down between India and China. It looked like he was making progress, but nothing really changed. The truth is, the distrust runs deep. China has also blocked many of India's ambitions. For example, India wants a permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council, but China strongly opposes it. India wants to lead more in the world economy. China resists that too. And then came what many see as a major betrayal. India backed away from the BRICS plan to move away from the US dollar. BRICS had been working on ways to trade in local currencies and reduce their dependence on the dollar. China and Russia were especially eager since both face US sanctions and want to escape dollar control. But India suddenly pulled back. India's Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar publicly said that India was never really supporting a common BRICS currency or full de-dollarization. That was a shock to many inside the bloc. It made it clear that India was not willing to challenge the US-led system, at least not in the same way China and Russia are. This move hit BRICS hard. One of the group's main goals was to build a financial system outside the Western-dominated world. If India won't help, then that whole dream is likely dead. China's shift away from relying on BRICS is becoming increasingly clear. Instead of operating strictly within the bloc, Beijing is deepening strategic ties directly with member states, particularly Brazil. Nowhere is this pivot more visible than in the growing personal rapport between Xi Jinping and Brazilian President Lula. The two leaders have reaffirmed cooperation across energy, infrastructure, and agriculture. Yet none of these agreements required BRICS. When two of the bloc's biggest players can accomplish so much on their own, the question arises: what purpose does the group still serve? Over the past few years, China and Brazil have built a robust partnership that has, in many ways, outpaced the broader BRICS agenda. While the bloc was meant to unite large emerging economies, Brazil and China are now achieving more bilaterally, especially in trade, finance, and currency, than the bloc has ever managed collectively. One milestone came in March 2023, when the two countries agreed to ditch the US dollar in trade, opting instead for their own currencies, the yuan and the real. While BRICS has long talked about de-dollarization, this bilateral deal got it done. Major banks like ICBC and Banco Bocom BBM now process these transactions, supporting a trade relationship worth over $150 billion annually. And they did it without waiting for BRICS. Their economic ties are expanding rapidly. Beyond staples like soybeans and iron ore, Brazil now exports beef, ethanol, and lithium to China, critical for China's EV and energy sectors. In return, Chinese firms are pouring investment into Brazil. Huawei is deploying 5G networks, and State Grid Corporation is building vital power infrastructure. These are direct, agile partnerships, not lumbering BRICS initiatives. On the financial front, cooperation is just as ambitious. In 2024, Brazil's central bank added the yuan to its reserve list, a major vote of confidence in China's currency. That same year, Brazil's development bank signed a $1.6 billion green energy deal with China's counterpart. It was fast, targeted, and impactful. Everything BRICS projects have struggled to be. Even in the emerging domain of digital currencies, the two nations are aligning. Brazil is preparing to join China's mBridge project, a blockchain-based system allowing central banks to transfer digital currencies across borders. It's faster, cheaper, and bypasses the dollar entirely, again, without BRICS. Taken together, these moves underscore a critical truth. China and Brazil have built a bilateral model that outperforms the bloc that once brought them together. While BRICS may have laid the foundation, the real progress is now happening outside it. And Brazil isn't alone. China is replicating this model across Latin America, Africa, and Asia, pursuing nimble, direct agreements that serve its goals without waiting for consensus. This shift should concern anyone hoping BRICS would rise as a unified counterweight to Western dominance. While the bloc debates de-dollarization endlessly, China acts. It's already pricing oil deals with Saudi Arabia and Iran in yuan. It's advancing mBridge with Thailand and the UAE. African nations are testing digital yuan systems. None of this relies on BRICS. Instead, Beijing's true vehicle for global influence remains the Belt and Road Initiative, its boldest, most ambitious strategy. With projected investments topping $1.6 trillion by 2030, BRI is funding ports in Kenya, railways in Argentina, and highways in Pakistan. Compare that to BRICS' new development bank, which has barely managed $30 billion in disbursements over a decade, hampered by red tape and internal disagreements. And so, we're left with a provocative question. Is BRICS still relevant, or just a symbolic shell on China's grand geopolitical chessboard? Stay tuned for more updates by subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below.